question today is, you win the lottery. You win $500 million.
Okay.
So you're never going to have to work again.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
what is the first thing? First of all, what's the first thing you buy?
The first thing I buy.
Yeah.
Is it tax free? Do I get the whole 500 million, or are we
Well,
talking?
even if you pay taxes,
Yeah.
you still get 250
Still
million.
250 million.
Yeah, yeah.
Dang.
So really money's not an issue anymore for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can go through it.
For sure.
You could spend
Yeah.
it all.
I would buy a mansion,
Okay.
like a cool house that has all of the cool things in it that I want. You know,
Like
it's funny because me and Carrie have talked about this. My wife, we've talked about this a couple times. What amenities does your dream home have? Right.
Okay.
So it would have a private basketball court, right? Like enclosed, right?
So is it like a half court or is it like
No,
a
full court.
You're talking
Yeah.
about full size, full court?
At
Or
least
maybe a
three,
three-quarter.
at least three-quarter, right?
Okay.
It's got to be big enough for 9 of my buddies to come over and we can play pickup whenever we want,
Gotcha,
right? Hey, it
gotcha.
runs at Alex's house,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Which means I don't want one of the mansions up in the hills either. It's got to be fairly centrally located, which might make it more expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's and maybe it doesn't need to be a mansion, but it's a big house, right? And it's got a bunch of cool stuff in it.
Right.
It's got like I said, full basketball court enclosed. It's got like a home theater or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe it's got like a big old garden with some chickens and some llamas in it or something like that. Llamas are cool, man. We'll do an alpaca farm in the backyard.
Llamas?
Yeah, dude. I'm trying to think of the other things. Like I said, me and my wife, we've had this conversation.
Okay.
What are the amenities that are in your dream home, right? Raspberry bushes, strawberry bushes, all that cool stuff.
Kind of like the Garden of Eden in your own little Garden of Eden
Yeah,
back
yeah,
there?
yeah. Maybe like a greenhouse that's got all that stuff in
Oh,
it.
okay.
Right? And then there's like my own personal FootLocker in my house. Like I've got a room that's dedicated to all my sneakers and my cool clothes.
Okay.
Like a walk-in closet, except it's its own room and it's got all the
Gotcha.
cool stuff in it.
So are you going to be responsible for your garden, or are you going to have somebody, you're going to hire a gardener?
I'm not into gardening. Maybe
Is
my
your
wife,
wife?
maybe she is. If we don't have to work ever again, maybe that's her thing. Maybe she starts gardening
You'd have
all
to
the time.
figure that out?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
So-
not just going to go spend the money willy-nilly. I'll have a plan for it probably.
Yeah.
I'll have to put together some financial planning. Because like you said, you go through it quick, and I don't want to
Yeah,
go
you gotta
through
be
it.
careful.
I don't want to blow it all, you know?
Gotcha.
But
So
that's the thing I would buy, right? I would have a really cool house with lots of cool stuff in it,
okay.
right? For me personally, number one is that basketball court.
Gotcha.
Because my least favorite thing is when you wake up on Saturday morning and you've got plans to go play ball with your buddies.
Yeah.
And you show up to the court that you're supposed to play at, and there's somebody that reserved it, right? And then you go to the Y, right? And you pay $15 to the Y to do a day pass that you're only going to use for 2.5 hours.
Right, right.
And then halfway through runs, some teenager with a Y badge on is like, "Excuse me, you can't play full court in here." And you're
Gotcha.
like, "We're the only ones in here. We can play full court." Yeah, that's one of my pet peeves. I don't.
So it would be a home. It wouldn't necessarily be cars or stuff. Or would you go on a spinning spree with shoes that you've always wanted, or would you?
No, because
Not
there's
really?
nothing really extravagant that millions of dollars affords me that I can't have already.
Really?
Yeah.
Except for a big mansion.
Yeah, it would be facilities, I guess, would be that's the thing that is without of my reach currently, you
Yeah,
know? But
yeah.
there aren't any holy grail shoes or holy grail cars that I can't get into right now. It would be
Yeah.
it would be the home with the attached facilities that I'm really into.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's interesting. That it's not a car or anything to.
I've got 4 wheels that get me around right now, and I'm happy with that, you know?
That's the simple life that I think kind of we live in, that reality, which is
Yeah.
as long as I got 4 wheels and it's a reasonably nice car to get
I
me
can't think
around.
of anything that like a swipe the card purchase that just like,
that would be crazy.
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think so. I might think of it in a minute, but
You know what I could see is I could see you.
Okay.
Now,
Uh-oh.
because I could certainly that would be your first step.
Yeah.
But I could see you. You're very. You like to buy things for other people that you know they like.
Yeah.
So I could see you
I
being
do
like
like
a
doing that, yeah.
big time, like all your friends.
So
would-
so let's take it further, right? After I get the dream home with all the stuff in it that I want,
Right.
right? You know, after that, maybe I go start buying businesses, right? Because
Okay.
I'm also, I mean, I'm not into stocks. I'm not into crypto, that kind of stuff. So I don't
Right.
think I would start investing.
Yeah.
But I could see myself investing in businesses, right? Maybe, uh, yeah, I don't know, buying franchises and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, owning a Chick-fil-A or something. I don't know, something like that. You know.
Would it be something that you didn't have to run, that would run itself, or would you want to
See,
be
the first thing
involved?
you said you said you win the lottery, you don't have to work ever again.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to live in that either.
That would,
I don't
yeah.
think I don't want to work ever again.
Yeah. What? So the question be, if you don't have to work, what would you do to give you purpose? Right. What it would
Yeah.
be?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really
Yeah.
interesting question for people.
Yeah, because I wouldn't. The thing that it would afford me is I don't have to work a job that is passionless for me ever again.
Right.
Or something that doesn't. Now, maybe I go get that. You know, maybe I bring Chicken Express up to Idaho for the first time, right? Or a Whataburger to Idaho for the first time, right?
Right.
And you know, my first job after winning the lottery is managing that Whataburger, and then at a certain point, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'll just hire a manager to go do it for me,
Right.
you know, and then I can go do the next thing, and then the next,
Right.
something like that, right?
So the next thing would be, like, is what gives you passion? I think the question is, what gives you
Purpose.
purpose and passion now? Like, if money were no object, what would you do for work? And you're saying, let's say you couldn't buy businesses,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So let's say you're just, what do you do? What would you spend your time doing if you didn't have to work, right?
Yeah.
And
Wait, before we go into the nitty gritty, I suppose, of
Yeah.
this, what's the thing you would buy?
I would probably just pay off
Debts.
this house.
And the debts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would probably just
I don't have extravagant debt
put
even.
it.
I don't think
yeah,
you
yeah.
do either.
No, I
Yeah.
don't. No, this house would be the only thing I'd really have to pay off. But
Yeah.
uh,
Would you go get a car of any kind?
I don't think I would. I'm happy with my car. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I might buy a bigger. I might buy like
Yeah.
a big van, so we could all go.
See,
around
also,
together.
if there was a car that I would buy, it's not a $100,000 car either.
Yeah.
If you know, at least
Yeah.
mine.
I know what you're
right.
saying.
If I would go get like a vintage BMW, right?
Right.
That.
Something that you like.
Yeah. Something that's cool, not something that. Yeah, I'm not into the Tesla. I'm not into any of the supercars. I'm not going to go buy a
Right.
Ferrari or a Lamborghini or anything like that.
Right.
It would be a minimal purchase, at least compared to the rest
Right,
of
right,
the
right.
wealth that I have.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Okay, so
To
you
get-
pay
to
you
get
pay off
your-
the house. There's nothing that you would go buy.
I don't think there's anything I would go buy. I would.
You wouldn't go buy some robot legs or some robot knees.
I
Because
don't
if you've got 25 million or 250 million, I don't remember what the starting number was.
Yeah, with with
Yeah.
my high level of income and modern science, I could live to be 200-300 years old.
130, 140
I
easy.
don't really
Yeah.
want to do that. Yeah.
You don't want no.
I
You
don't
don't want a
wanna
Luke
live-
Skywalker leg or something
No,
like that.
no. I don't want to be the experiment. I guess is what it is. I mean, as time progresses, if they can give me some robot legs, heck yeah.
Yeah, if they've tested it out already.
You know what though? I'd rather not have robot legs as much as if they're a way to. I'd rather have no pain. Because when you get
Okay.
older, and you've had knee problems or shoulders,
Yeah.
like it keeps me awake.
Sure.
Like my knees and shoulders will keep
So
me
you're
awake. at
you're
night.
content with the current level of performance?
Yeah.
As long if the
I
soreness
don't-
and pain wasn't
right.
a deal.
I don't mind being old. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't mind being
This
older.
we might be the most boring dudes to ask this question
Well,
to
the-
because
but-
we don't
yeah,
have
that's
any.
true. But the question I ask myself sometimes is, if money were no object, what would give me purpose?
What would
I
give me
want
purpose?
to do
Yeah.
that I think could add to some sort of
Yeah.
the good of humanity? Or
So I've thought of, you know, because I mean, spoiler alert, that's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
If everything goes the way I want it to, we can become wealthy off of this kind of stuff, right? This is what I would love to do.
Right.
So
Spreading happiness somehow.
Yeah. So I've thought in the future, maybe I could own a foundation or a nonprofit of some kind. I don't know the logistics I don't know which one is which. I don't know enough
Right,
about
right.
it. Where I could go around, because I buy every pair of basketball shoes I want.
Right.
I don't have any kids. I have a salary. I'm doing all right.
Right.
So if a new pair of basketball shoes comes out, I go get it.
Right.
Right.
And that's a minimal purchase for anybody.
Yeah.
really.
And I'm real blessed to be able to do that. But there's been times when I've gone to the park or gone to the rec center, and I'll see dudes with beat up shoes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. That literally play them until they're beat to death because that's what they can do. Right.
Right. Right.
And when I see that, I want to go to Ross or FootLocker and say, hey, what's your size? And go get and just.
You'd love to have a trunk full of different size shoes that are really cool.
So that would be my foundation.
Yeah.
It would be, I would just have a van.
But you wouldn't give them to everybody. I've watched you do this, right? I've seen you. And you wouldn't give them to everybody. You would just give them to the guy who's a baller and has a family and just
Yeah,
maybe doesn't want to spend money on his own
The one guy that I
tennis
can
shoes.
remember, and I've only played with him one time, and I wish I could find him again, was over here at the park over here.
Yeah.
He was this bigger Mexican dude.
Right.
And the dude could finish at the rim.
He was a baller.
He was.
I
You
remember.
remember playing
Oh,
with
yeah,
him,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what I loved about him is that he didn't have the body type of a baller.
Yeah.
And if he did, you would think he'd be a post guy or a rebounder.
Right.
But this dude was shifty because, like I said, bigger Mexican dude.
Yeah.
And he was wearing some beat up Nikes that had duct tape around him.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Right. And his money probably goes to his family and his kids and all the necessities of
Yeah.
life.
Or-
and he plays basketball because it's free and it's
Yeah.
cheap and he's good at it and he's worked
Yep.
at it.
Yep.
And that's the guy who that's the
Right.
guy.
And
right? You don't want to give him to everybody.
that's the guy I
Yeah.
want to give. Yeah, I don't.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and,
I'm
but
not
I
trying
remember,
to give a pair of shoes to
I
every
remember
kid out there.
asking him, "Hey, what size shoe do you wear?"
Right.
Because I thought to myself, if I'm ever going to, and whatever shoe I don't remember exactly, but I bought a pair and they're in my trunk, and if I ever see them again, they're his.
Yeah.
I did
Right.
do that.
Are they
Right?
still in your trunk?
Yes.
What
But
size are they?
12. But I never saw him again.
Right.
Right?
And we don't go back to that park very often.
But if I ever see him again, I'm like, hey, dude,
yeah.
you probably don't remember me. But that's what my foundation would be.
Yeah.
I would have a big white van that has like a low-level FootLocker inside the van.
Yeah.
And I would drive around to parks, and I would I would walk up there, I'd start playing, and if I saw anybody with duct tape on their basketball shoes,
Yeah. Especially a baller.
especially a baller,
Right.
Especially a dude, and I dig nice baller. I dig dudes who hoop, but aren't crapping on people,
Right.
who aren't crappy,
They're friendly.
right?
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
competitive, but they're not
Yep.
trying to hurt guys.
And I'd be like,
and
hey,
be
dude, what
crappy.
size shoe do you wear? And I'd
Right.
bring them over to my van,
Yeah. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
which is a little creepy, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it wouldn't be underage kids. It would, I'd be
Yeah.
like, hey, come over
Yeah.
here to my van.
There's no duct tape or
and I'd be
anything,
like,
right?
there's the size 12s, pick out the
yeah,
pair
yeah.
that you want.
I got you. That would be cool.
Right.
Right.
And I would drive around America in that van, and I would give shoes to ballers in parks that.
Go to rec centers, go to parks.
And if anybody had a pair of shoes that had some frayed shoelaces or duct tape, where I could see that they're wearing thin on the bottom,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
go pick out a pair, homie.
I think I have at least one pair of shoes you got for me. And I don't even need basketball shoes, but you see them and you know
Giving
I like 'em.
basketball shoes is as fun as getting basketball
Right.
shoes.
And I know Jack has 2 or 3 pairs you got for him, and I know he's your brother. And Chloe
By the way,
is
if there are any millionaires that are watching this video
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're looking for a charity to do, call me up and I will run Operation Home Court for you.
There you go, Operation Home Court.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the name of the rec center I go play at, right?
Gotcha. But the idea behind that whole thing is to just brighten somebody's life just by showing up with something that, is something that they would use and value properly, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can't really go around just giving people money randomly or anything like that.
Yeah.
Without
There's a place for that, right?
Right.
But I don't know if that's my shtick,
Yeah.
right? My
Gotcha.
shtick is spreading happiness to people in ways that give me it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
if I feel more attached, I would just throwing out cash
Yeah.
there's a detachment to it, you know
Sure.
what I mean?
Sure.
It's good, it's charitable, it's cool,
Right.
but I want to feel more attached
You want
to
the
it.
personal connection is what
Yeah.
you want. Yeah. Because
I want to see the dude hooping, right?
Yeah.
And go,
And even if you never see him again.
that's not the point.
Right. The
Yeah.
point is you got to
Yeah.
do something like that
Yeah.
that made he'll love him,
Yeah.
and it made you feel great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
And that might happen. The 2 of my favorite pairs of shoes that I've ever owned that are on my shelf at home,
Okay.
right, came when I was in college, right? And there was these 2 new pairs of shoes coming out,
Right.
and I didn't have the money to get both of them. And all of a sudden, it was my birthday, and I was going to buy myself a pair of shoes for my birthday.
Right.
And I remember walking on campus, and I get a phone call, and it's Mom.
Okay.
And she says, "Hey, it's your birthday. I dropped $100 in your account. Go get yourself a pair of basketball shoes."
Right.
And I got to get both of them.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because I had saved up money to get myself one, and then with that extra bunch of cash, I was like, I can get both of them, because I was worried that they were going to sell out, because one of them was a pair that could sell. You know what I mean? So, and that was the best thing that could have ever happened, that I got both of them, right? Now, I know that's spoiled and it's privileged, or whatever you want to call it. I call it blessed, right? I call it, gratitude. But yeah, I want to.
But those are the memories that stick in your brain, right? When you really.
And you go, I got to pay it forward. I got to give that to someone someday.
For sure.
Yeah.
And for me, if money were no object for me, I see how my family is connected, and kind of some of the things your mom and I did, and how we worked through it to have just a happy family that seems to get along real well. And so for me, there's little tips and techniques that I would just love to share with people, and give that a way to see those families come closer, and maybe even help struggling parents that sometimes kids can be so challenging that it can cause a rift between the parents.
Yeah.
And Shelly and I had those issues too. And so just to be able to share that with people would probably be what I would focus my attention on.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much time or energy I'd be able to give to it, or I don't know, maybe I would lose interest or something in it. But it's kind of, for me, the same way when I see couples that are families that are able to use something your mom and I put together and see success, it gives me the same kind of joy.
Yeah.
That what you're talking about does. So,
now, I know if anybody's watching this, there's probably people in the comments that are like, these dudes are full of it. They had all the money in the world. They're acting like they would help the world, you know. Right. Believe it if you want. I'm being as genuine as I possibly can.
I've actually thought about this.
Yeah. You can disbelieve me if you want, because I know if anybody, like I said, I don't know if anybody's ever going to see this video.
Right.
And if people are, and it gets enough traction, there will be some people in the comments that go, these guys are full of it. They're trying to act saintly. Ain't no way they wouldn't just spend all the money and be cool with it, right?
Well, we've also been blessed with.
But I want to say, I am trying to be as genuine as possible. Right. I mean what I'm saying.
And we've also been blessed with enough things of the world that things aren't so important to us, right?
Sure.
And we realize the value of different things. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're both, hey buddy, you gotta stop, okay? Hey Eric, I need you, hey, do you need to go hop on your bike and go for a ride real quick? Hey, you gotta stop yelling, okay? All right, think of good stuff, okay? All right? All right. You can do it. You want to come over and say hi to the camera real quick, Eric? Nope? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. One of my sons is a little frustrated, so I'm chatting with him a little bit, my other sons. Yeah, the reality is we have been blessed to, have things.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying supercars or mansions or anything.
Yeah.
But also, we're kind of happy with the things that we've gotten, and we feel blessed with the things that we've gotten. And I think we both realize that every time you buy a new pair of basketball shoes, there's a little bit of a thrill, but then that thrill fades.
Sure.
Yeah. But there's a difference in being able to be generous with something that affects somebody else and their happiness.
Yeah.
And those thrills don't fade so quick, right?
The thrill of mom hooking me up with both, being able to get both pairs, that's never going to go away.
Right.
And so it's not the thrill of me getting every new pair of shoes or every new pair of shoes from here on out. I want to recreate that moment, that wrinkle in time where I got to get the ones that I wanted when I didn't think I was going to be able to.
Right, and that's the feeling.
That moment in 2018 or 19 or whenever it was, that's the thing that this foundation that I would one day put together is going to provide, right?
And I think that's the same with me. I've experienced some things where I realize things are great and they're exciting, but there's things that I know lead to more long-lasting happiness.
Yeah.
And if I could share those things, they seem, with other families, those seem really so much
who's
cooler
doing
to
it
me.
right with their wealth is Shaq.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Shaq walks into Walmart
Yeah.
and he buys people's groceries.
Yeah.
Right? and I'm sure he does it kind of the way that I would do it with the shoes.
Right,
He
right.
walks in and he sees,
Yeah.
a single mom or a lone something. So I'm sure there's a glimmer in someone's eyes that makes him go, "That's what my mom was like."
Right.
Right. Shaq says that's what my mom was like when she was trying to feed us boys.
Yeah.
Right. Me.
Right,
Right.
right.
And he goes and buys all the groceries for that lady. Right.
Right.
Or he gets. I've seen videos of him. He's found teenagers that were 6'9" at 12.
Right.
And
they couldn't afford size 15 or 16
exactly
tennis shoes.
Tennis
Yeah.
shoes.
Right.
So he takes them to the big and tall store and he hooks them
them
up.
up.
Right.
Yeah.
And that and that's the kind of thing that I hope to do one day.
And I think what he does is he doesn't go to Walmart looking for somebody to bless.
Sure.
He feels the promptings when they happen.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of cool too.
That's
and that's
cool.
kind of what you're talking about when you're out and about, is you're not going out and about looking for somebody. You just, when you see something and you think it's cool, you want to participate.
Yeah.
You want to be a part
And
of it.
Shaq doesn't pull out his camera either and
Right.
say, "Look at what I'm doing."
Right, right,
That's
right.
not what it's about, right? People
Exactly.
catch him doing that. I'm sure Shaq does it way more than we know he does.
Sure.
We only hear about the times he gets caught by other people.
I heard a story about him one day.
Okay.
He's driving to the LA arena when he was with the Lakers. And the streets are kind of empty, but there's a little kid walking down the street with a kind of a beat up, junky Shaq jersey on, LA Shaq jersey.
Yeah.
Maybe second or third hand, just
And it
way
probably
too
wasn't.
big.
It probably wasn't authentic in the first place.
It probably
either.
wasn't authentic in the first place.
Yeah, it was what he got at the flea market.
and he's
right?
driving by, in his tinted windows and his big giant SUV he was probably driving, and he sees this little kid, 10-year-old kid walking down with a basketball in his arm, wearing this Shaq jersey, and he just sees him and he just pulls over, and he hops out of the car, and he has a couple of Shaq jerseys and he signed one, and he just makes the kid's day, right, and brightens the kid's life in a little bit of a way.
Yeah.
And I've heard of him showing up playing basketball with kids in the street. I've heard him those are the kind of things that when the prompting arises and you're in that moment, the ability to do that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's what I want. If I got the money to do it, I want to go Shaq it up.
Shaq it up.
But I have to go buy the Chick-fil-A's and the Papa John's and I gotta make
yeah.
that money stretch.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I want to be able to do it for as long as possible, right?
Right.
If I blow the 250, then
Right.
I can't do it for very long. So I gotta go make the money work for me, right? I gotta
Yeah.
go. Is
Well-
it the richest man in Babylon or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
go do that crap.
And I have a feeling if you have a lot of money, a lot of more opportunities come your way.
Sure.
So, and I don't know because neither of us have a lot of money. But
No, yeah.
The point is,
Not
though,
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm putting that out there into the universe.
But we do know we are very close to some individuals who make good money, and they seem to make money in different ways that we don't have the opportunity to make because they have the money to
Yeah.
invest and spend on certain things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are the kinds if I came into that kind of money, I'd be calling a lot of those guys and saying,
Yeah.
give me some advice.
Yeah,
here.
what land do I need to buy? What
Right.
do I need to invest in? Yeah,
Give me
what's the
counsel.
deal? Yeah.
For sure.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's interesting, and I'm curious. And part of it, one time my dad said,
There's also I want to say, right? There's that adage that money earned is sweeter than money won, or and you're liable to keep the money you earn, but not the money you win. You know what I mean? So
right.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna backtrack on your original question. I don't think I want to win the lottery because I'm too worried that I'll squander it. You know what I mean?
If you don't earn it, you don't keep it.
Yeah.
usually.
Exactly.
Right.
So
Right.
when I earn that 250, what am I going to do with it?
Right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
the
Because
question.
I would much rather, and I think that's what inspires a lot, especially the dudes that we know that do have some wealth.
Yeah.
That's what inspires them to go do it the way they do it, because
Yeah.
they look back on the process it took to earn it, and they go they can look at all the benchmarks where things fell into place. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there's a lot. There's a
they
ton
even
of
failed multiple times.
yeah.
There's
There's an immeasurable amount of hard work that goes into getting to where those
Right.
dudes get to.
Right.
But there's also a lot of little miracles that happen along the way that you can't plan for
Sure.
and you can't expect,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And so I'm sure they look back on that process of gaining that wealth and they go, dang, if I don't go pay back these little miracles, it could be taken
You know
away
what?
as easily as it
right.
came.
And we're also very blessed to know individuals who are doing it right. Right? We know they're very wealthy and they're doing, and they're generous and they're kind and they're good people. And how lucky are we to know those people?
And we've been the beneficiary of their
A lot of
generosity.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And to know those people and to see that you don't have to turn into some jerk or some idiot, or
Yeah.
you don't have to be this
Or be
pompous-
perfectly fine, but only do charity for the tax deductions. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. There are those too.
Yeah. And which
Right.
is fine.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah. So
I would want to do it like the dudes that we know. That's my personal preference,
Right.
But anybody who does go get their wealth and then they
right.
do it for the tax deductions, power to you. That's
you.
fine.
Right,
That's
right.
totally fine.
Yeah. Because sometimes I think about what is the purpose, right? What am I working for? What am I doing this for? And it always goes back to some very simple, basic things,
Yeah.
that you
And we haven't really talked about this on the podcast yet, and we're 12 or 15 episodes in at this point.
Right.
So it is worth saying the point of this chat, the chats between me and you,
Yeah.
are, you're my best friend.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And I hope in a lot of ways, I don't have to be your best friend. I'm not trying to put
Well,
that on you. I'm not
no,
putting you
no.
on the spot. But,
Yeah.
we have a really cool relationship being father and son.
Right.
And so we hope that without being preachy, I hope, and without being, saintly or holier than thou or whatever, I hope that people can listen to these chats and go, that's the kind of chat I want to have with my dad or have
Yeah.
with my son. You know?
Right.
And that's the kind of goodness that I hope to put out.
Right. We want others to have the same kind of relationship we have.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, I used to post stuff on my Facebook page all the time about raising you kids.
Yeah.
And I was always telling stories about what you guys had done and the great things you had accomplished. And I had a friend, not a friend, but an acquaintance growing up, mentioned something on Facebook about people that talk about their kids and what's going on. They're just braggadocious and they're arrogant and all this stuff.
Yeah,
and it didn't sit well with me. And I thought, is that who I am, right?
Yeah.
And I realized very quickly, because I talked to your mom about it, I said, do I need to stop because I don't want to be that person? And she said something I'll never forget. She said, the reason you do it is so other people can see that they can do it.
Yeah.
And that even through our struggles, because I wasn't afraid to talk about our struggles and the challenges, but I would also always try to end on, here's how we're working through it. Here's how we want to make it better. And she said, I think that's okay. So ignore him. Well, I ended up personal messaging.
Yeah.
And I said, go back and read my stuff again with this lens.
Sure.
And I said, if you see me doing it, tell me, because I need to know.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be that guy that just shows you the highlights,
Sure.
on social media.
Yeah.
But I also want you to see that we have the same challenges and struggles you do. But if I can do it, you can do it, because I'm just a regular old idiot,
Yeah.
I'm just a regular old
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
There's no specialness
Yeah.
about what we've done other than just work at it and try things.
Yeah.
And figure stuff out.
Yeah. So this episode did take a turn to the reveal our purpose a little bit. You know what I mean?
It did.
And the episode we record after this will get more silly. You know what I mean? But every now and then well, hopefully all of our episodes are wholesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we want the majority of them. Every now and then you'll be able to peek behind the curtain of why we do this.
Right.
Why we do what we do in this space.
Sure.
The majority of them will be a little bit more silly. You know
Well,
what I
they
mean?
tend to go that way anyway.
Yeah. We've giggled plenty in this one, so
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
hopefully you're not just like skip, give
Yeah.
me the next
And
one.
maybe
And maybe
you
you
do.
did, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. But
Okay.
I'm just trying to rework back to that original one. I want to say something outrageous that I would spend just to put a funny spin on it.
Yeah.
Just pick something outrageous. What would it be?
You know what? Growing up, the Porsche 911
Yeah.
was the car we all wanted as kids. If I
Yeah.
ever get rich, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I can't really get down into one now because I can't. My knees don't work very well. So that's kind of sad. But I almost think, and I realize it could be.
That's why you need the robot legs, man.
That's right.
It's not for performance. It's so that you can get down into a
Well,
Porsche
and the reality
911.
is, even if I did buy one now, to drive very, very rarely, I'd probably stick it in the garage and drive it rarely.
See, that's the thing.
But-
That's the thing that I don't.
But maybe,
Yeah.
listen to this.
Sure.
Let me
Okay.
finish.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
might want to use it for kids to go on the prom in or something, because that would be cool too.
That would
right?
be cool. Yeah.
And just pull it out for those occasions. But also, it would be cool to drive around in it rarely, like occasionally. But also just to say I had one, and realizing too, at this point, if I bought it at the right price, it could probably be an investment to go up to, because of the age of these cars and everything, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that's where I'm at in my life.
Sure.
Like if you'd asked me when I was 35, oh, there would have been a Porsche in the garage.
Oh, sure.
And
yeah.
then Shelly would have.
This
had
reminds me of in
and-
the Italian Job when they're all. Do you remember
Yeah,
that when
yeah,
they're all
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
what you're going to spend your cut of the money on, right?
And the one guy has no. He
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
gets one of everything that everybody else has because
Yeah.
he has no imagination.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point in my life where I don't think I have the same. I mean, I don't have the same imagination, right?
Yeah.
I don't want those things. I want simple things like,
Sure.
yeah. So
Sure.
it's maybe a
My
little
outrageous thing, I would go buy. I don't know. I don't know. I'm having a hard. Like I said,
horrible.
we're probably the worst dudes to ask this question to because we don't.
Right.
I want to say something silly like I'm going to go buy a football arena that's all 100 yards of the football field is a trampoline.
Right.
I don't. You know what I mean? Like something.
No, but I could see.
something
You know what I
silly.
could see you doing is I could see
What?
you rolling into a gas station, and a kid say, "Wow, that's a really cool car," because you have an older car, but it's a good looking car.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a kid say, maybe a high school kid or a young kid
Yeah.
say, "Oh, that's a really cool car," and you say, "You know what? I'm buying a new one, and I'm looking for somebody to take this one off my hands."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that would be how awesome would that be?
That would be awesome.
That-
yeah.
Then you disappear, right?
Yeah.
And a kid.
Yeah, I want to be charity Batman. You know what I mean? Like,
You're not going to fight crime. You're
No,
going to
no,
fight.
no, no.
You're going to fight unhappiness.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
bad way to say
I wish
it.
I had something outrageous to
know.
say.
Yeah. So we're boring on that. front.
Yeah, I would buy a neon bowling alley.
There we go.
I don't
Okay.
really know.
Well, that might be a good place for this one to end.
Sure.
Yeah. A neon bowling alley is what you would buy.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. We'll talk next time.
Cool.
All right.
See you guys.
See you.